Yo, it's good. It's your man, 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. Yo, Zach Lavine may be the perfect match for the Toronto Raptors. I want to dive into that in this video. If you enjoy it, smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Let me just start off with, look, Zach Lavine is a talented player who I've kind of been out on because not every talented player actually translates to winning basketball. And many times when it comes to winning, you have to be in the right context. And Zach Lavine just has never really been in the right context, situation, never had the right roster around him. And then he's dealt with injuries. And so that's always kept him behind the eight ball in terms of advancing in the NBA and really maximizing his talent and creating opportunities for himself. Now, some of it is self-inflicted. Some of it is his own need to mature and learn how to lead and, become more efficient. But at the end of the day, he's still an extremely talented player who's not in the best position. And if we're honest with ourselves, when we look at the recent, maybe past 10 games for the Chicago Bulls, where they found some sort of traction in this season and started to put together wins, he has not been there. And if anything, it's showing that this team comes together without him there. And when you think about how much money he's owed moving forward and the direction of this team, I don't know if Chicago is necessarily dedicated to the Zach Lavine era. That has been largely disappointing. In fact, it probably would be a complete disappointment if it wasn't for DeMar DeRozan's arrival. Now, when you look at the Toronto Raptors, this is a team kind of stuck in the doldrums, however you say it, of NBA mediocrity. Nobody knows if they're coming or going. They have too many talented guys at the same position, which minimizes their impact. And they haven't been able to figure it out with the new coach and all. And they are in need not just of new lifeblood, but they're also in need of a score, like a bona fide volume score, instead of trying to make role players into all-star level scorers, which, if I'm honest with you, I think Masai Ujiri has done a masterful job of. He's been able to get very versatile, skilled, hardworking guys who in most circumstances would have came into the NBA and just been a really good role player, maybe even a starting level role player for a really good team, a la Pascal Siakam. Great third best option on a championship team, right behind Kawhi Leonard and Kyle Lowry. But when we look at what this team is today and how it's constructed, it largely does not make sense. And I think everybody has seen it. We've talked about it. We've beaten it to death. It's been so over discussed that I think at this point it's just like, well, whatever. This is where they're at. They have this situation and it's playing out the way it is. Matter of fact, the way it has for the last couple of seasons. And so at this point, we just want to see them actually take a chance. Now, here's the main reason why I think Zach Lavine is the best option for them, because next year's free agency is just completely void of the type of guard play score that they need desperately. It isn't there. In fact, Gary Trent Jr. is probably going to be one of the best options unless they're looking for somebody like Klay Thompson, which I think would be a horrible investment because I don't think he's a number one option. I don't think he's a scorer as much as an amazing shooter. And that's a big difference. A scorer, you can put the ball in their hands and say, make something happen. A shooter is somebody who needs other people to make something happen for them so they can maximize their shooting prowess. Now, when you look at the Toronto Raptors, something else that we have to consider is that they are going to be far beneath the salary cap next season. And when I say far, I mean incredibly beneath the salary cap. They will have so much money to spend. But here's the thing. You don't want to spend foolishly. You want to spend intentionally. And you don't want to be in a situation where you're re-signing guys, spending more money on guys because you have to bring back some sort of talent. You can't just let all your talent walk away, right, for nothing like they did. Well, I mean, not so much with Kyle Lowry because they got Precious Achiuwa back and they got some pieces and some salary cap and stuff like that. But it's to say you can't just let them walk for nothing. And so instead of being in a position where they have to overpay guys so that they can fill out this roster and still be in the same position, why not go out and get somebody who's a compliment right now? Matter of fact, not just a compliment, but somebody who is under contract for the next 4 years. Now, I know that this could be also a concern because you're like, yo, he has an injury history. Can he play at this certain level that you may be expecting him to? But the reality is he's proven that he can be at a certain level, which is fringe all-star, if not all-star, right? But at the same time, he's also somebody that we know that is probably never going to hit superstar, right? He's never going to quite be that. But in the right situation, you can maximize their value for you and be able to potentially push your team further when you have guys who are in the right position. When you look at this roster for the Toronto Raptors, you have my man Dennis Schroeder, who's an amazing, really high-level point of attack, a defender who's able to take on the best guard perimeter scoring option. Then you've got an excellent, versatile Swiss Army knife, Scotty Barnes, who's able to set guys up, facilitate, run that point forward role, and he's an amazing wing defender. Between Dennis Schroeder and Scotty Barnes, you have your facilitating down. You have your leadership down. You have your perimeter defense down. And that's going to allow you to hide Zach Lavine and not put the pressure on him to be a high-level facilitator for the rest of the team. This allows him to focus on his best attributes, which is scoring. Then if you bring back somebody like Precious Achiuwa, I'm sorry, not Precious Achiuwa. I don't even know why that name even came up right now. But if you bring back somebody like Pascal Siakam and you pair him with the Zach Lavine, you now have two all-star level players, all NBA and an all-star level player, right, whom you could sandwich around Scotty Barnes. And as he rises, right, you've taken off that pressure for him to be this big-time scorer, and you actually allow him to fall into his best attributes, which is playmaking for his team, facilitating, and being that do a little bit of everything type player, right? And this is why I think that he could be an amazing, amazing asset for them. Now, if they can get Chicago to throw in someone like, what's his name, Dacian Terry or something like that out of the University of Arizona, I think his last name's Terry, right? Athletic, 6'7", guard, wing, who has a lot of potential but hasn't gotten the opportunity because Chicago is just saturated with guards, almost in the same way that Toronto is saturated with forwards, right? And so you bring in somebody like Terry, or maybe you ask them for Ayo Dosunmu, right, who's got that combo guard type feel, excellent perimeter defender at 6'5", great athleticism. He could be a great backup point guard. But either way, they're able to rotate out. And let's say you add in guys like Precious Achiuwa into the trade. Maybe I'm thinking OG Anunoby, Precious Achiuwa, Thaddeus Young, and maybe Otto Porter Jr., right? Chicago gets the forward play that they need in order to supplement that power forward, small forward role. And Toronto gets the guard play that they're desperately in need of. But at the end of the day, I want to know what you all think about this trade idea. I think it works. I think it's sound because Toronto needs a direction. And I think Pascal Siakam and Jakob Poeltl being on this team right now at their age, it's kind of like, look, we're ready to go, but let's get this thing figured out. And I think going after Zach Lavine figures it out quickly for them. It quickly says, this is our five. This is our five. And with this five, we should be able to compete with just about anybody. Now, if you enjoyed the video, if you agree, disagree, holler at me in the comment section. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace.